All right, so today I'm on a walk while doing this episode. I suspect that I will have no time to record since some cousins are visiting and I have to pick up someone from the airport. So I'm just gonna do it while walking. I think this is much better compared to being in a car, so I think the audio will be usable. But today was a sort of half-half day. I knew this was coming because for me, I am somebody who is very much involved in watching certain media, and one of those things is watching a show called The Boys, and it's the finale episode today of season 4. So I just wanted to get that out of the way because I knew I wanted to just watch it in the day, especially since I did agree to do a discussion with some friends who want to talk about it for YouTube and stuff. So it's something I was gonna have to do either way. So in a way, I did kind of fail in that aspect of keeping weekdays to no watching anything, but I think it's going to be one of the last days where that happens for a while, since there's nothing else that's going on in the entertainment world that I feel an absolute need to keep up with. So that's something I'm gonna make sure it stays that way so that I don't have any more temptation. That's one thing I know for sure that's been able to help me in the past as well, is to just in general not start anything new involving like shows, movies, all that stuff. Because once you start, like we talked about momentum yesterday, it gets pretty difficult to stop. But overall, that didn't take too much time out of the day. I'd say right about an hour and 30 minutes, since the episode itself is pretty long, and then afterwards I just did some browsing on Reddit to see what everyone's talking about from the episodes, and sometimes I just enjoy doing that. I also like seeing if anyone else had similar thoughts about the episode as I did. So for me, it's not too bad that this happened since I expected it, and it was aligned with just like me consciously choosing for it to happen. It wasn't like a slip up where I just felt really bad or felt really tired and decided to watch something new or anything like that. Today is a pretty sore day overall, so I feel somewhat incapable of doing the 100 habits. Once again, the habits are just 100 days of doing 100 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, running, water intake, stretching, and so on. However, we had a good piano session overall, piano practice session, and then a pretty decent work session as well. There's actually a topic that I've had on the stack for quite a while. I call it the Dejavu Loop. This concept is essentially the fact that in my life, I've noticed a lot of similar patterns and similar thoughts come up regarding life. For instance, in the past episodes, now that I've been editing them and trying to get them uploaded today, or scheduled today, I noticed that I say a lot of the same things over and over again, even though for the episodes they released like a day after another. For those recordings themselves, I recorded them very, very much separately. Like I'd say at least 2 weeks apart for the first few, and then right about a week apart for the last few that brings me to today. And it's quite interesting because it's like I feel and think the exact same things, but it feels as if I have thought it and felt it for the first time. I mean, I know that to not be true, but it's like a lot of the same thoughts that I've had now, when I look back at my journals of me, like say being disappointed in myself or feeling like I need to do better and all that stuff, those thoughts have occurred to me before, and those feelings have occurred to me before as well. It's not the first time that I felt it. And a part of me feels like this deja vu loop where the same thoughts keep reoccurring, the same feelings, is kind of sad in a way, because it's like, it means that there's a lack of progression in something, whether it's a lack of me executing on the ideas I've had, the thoughts that I've had, and taking them and transforming them to make them further, to just further my thoughts and have a bit more deeper thoughts in a way. Or the alternative is also just moving on from those thoughts, not having them anymore because I don't need them, like I've moved past them. But I think that one of the primary reasons why the deja vu loop happens in the first place is because a lot of time passes in between when I do have those thoughts and feelings. And I am indeed the same person I was about 2 months ago. So it makes perfect sense that I have similar thoughts then. But to the person that I was, let's say, 5 years ago or so, of course, some things are going to be similar, but I don't want to have the exact same thought processes, I suppose. I mean, I guess thought processes is fine. It's more so just having the same exact feelings and thoughts regarding things that I'm not happy with, I suppose. Because obviously, if there are thoughts about good things and I feel good and things are great, then I don't mind having that same thoughts and feeling. So what do you do about this? What should I do about this? I've thought about this before, and I try to come up with something called the problem solution chain, which is just an organized list of problems or things that I feel are problems inside of me, whether they're my feelings or something I have to deal with or just anything. And then just coming up with solutions for each of them, or just writing down a conclusion, something that I feel closure for. Especially regarding not necessarily problems, but regarding bad feelings about moments in my life where I was caused a lot of pain, for instance. And just trying to come up with like some way to reason, like why that happened, how could I have done better and all that stuff, so that my brain doesn't go back to it and linger on those same feelings and thoughts. And of course, since I am still having these same thoughts as before, I haven't actually really tried to fully implement this problem solution chain that I've talked about, that I've thought about. I have actually tried it in general, like I did create a sheet with some problems and solutions I came up with, but overall I feel like I just didn't keep up with it. But now that I'm reminded of it by just talking about this concept, a part of me does kind of want to try it again, because I'm trying to think of a reason not to do it. Because when I think about it, it's like one of the main issues for me, or some of the main issues for me regarding me being distracted and not being productive and all that stuff, it always relates to a couple things. I talked about a fair amount of it yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat it here, but as long as I understand what causes the problem, then I should, in theory, be able to either avoid the problem or just have come up with a good solution that helps me solve the problem. And that way I can keep moving forward. So I think that's something I'm going to do today, right now actually, is just create a sheet, probably in Notion, where I have a list of primary issues or primary things that I find myself falling into over and over again, and then just writing down what I feel is the best way to deal with it, to conquer the issue and just move forward from it once and for all. That way, I don't have to keep repeating myself and falling into the same problems. Of course, it's way easier said than done, since we are creatures of habit. Some of these things are going to be difficult to deal with no matter what, no matter how many times I've encountered it. And implementing the problem solution chain sheet is also another thing in itself. Like I have to review it once in a while. Of course, creating a note or a reminder to just review it like once a week is probably good enough. So I should just do that. But yeah, that is one of the things I wanted to talk about today that I thought about, that I feel like is a very, very good, simple way of continuously moving forward and not being stuck in this deja vu loop of feeling the same pains, feeling the same thoughts and feelings. Overall, today isn't over yet. I still want to get certain things done, and I feel like I have that capacity and capability. Right now, my mind is clear, more so than most of the past weeks. Just one thing in the day, which was watching that show, that was a distraction that I consciously decided to do, but that's okay. And also another thing I've noticed when I listen back to my podcast stuff and when I'm talking to this microphone right now, compared to like when I talk to myself in the shower, it's very different. And I'm trying to find like a good balance for that, because a part of me feels like I'm not talking in a way that I would want to talk to like a friend or someone that's just in a very, very natural way. I feel like there's something slightly off about the way I've been talking to this microphone. I think it's because I'm conscious, knowing that I'm gonna have to edit it later, and knowing that when I edit it, I'm gonna cut out the silences, so I'm okay with being silent for like a long period of time. So it ends up being like me talking in bursts. And I think that sort of rhythm or pattern is a bit unnatural. So another thing I'm going to be doing from now on is I'm going to try to just talk in a bit more of a natural cadence and not worry too much about stumbles or things that I say that don't sound intelligible. So hopefully that eventually helps me build the skill of just talking on the top of my feet without needing to stop so much. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one.